We're joined by Eddie Hearn here in London for what is a very big day, an important day in the heavyweight division. Eddie, I do just want to say we've had a very busy week, few weeks at Matchroom. I think it's 6 on the bounce now. You've done yourself no favours by announcing Joshua-Whyte 2 on the day you were meant to be having a bit of downtime before you fly to America.
Well, no, I've just come back from Mexico. I was supposed to stay out there. I mean, we had Mexico last week and I was flying straight to Detroit, but we decided to throw in a little London press conference. It's been a good stretch, 6 weeks. Feeling it a little bit, looking forward to a couple of weeks off after Detroit. But this is, I think, just what we needed, what AJ needs, what Dillian Whyte needs, and I think what British boxing needs. I think we've been lacking the big standout shows, maybe for a year or two now in British boxing. And I feel like this is really going to bring the domestic scene back, bouncing. The O2 is, as we sit, 2-3 hours in to the on sale, virtually sold out. I think there's 100 tickets left. It's a massive event, and it's a huge moment in the career of Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte. And 7 years on from that famous head-to-head at Tower Bridge, we're about to do it all over again, and I'm excited.
There was a few names being thrown around for AJ. Obviously, we know that he wants to be active. I think this is his quickest turnaround since back in 2016-17, around the Klitschko-Molina time. But this Dillian Whyte name came out of really nowhere and took a lot of people by surprise. And I think if you took yourself back and you were told that you'd be promoting this fight in August, you probably would have been a bit surprised, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the fight AJ wanted from the get-go, really. And I felt that without the Deontay Wilder situation, Dillian Whyte was the right fight. When we opened negotiations with the Saudis to fight Deontay Wilder, I'll be honest, I was looking for a softer opponent in August. I mean, you're on the verge of signing a fight for a huge amount of money, one of the biggest in the sport. The last thing you want to do, and all those conversations with the Saudi were exactly that. If you lose this fight's not there. And the deal is off the table. But I feel like AJ in the Franklin fight probably realised that those kind of opponents just don't get him up for it, don't spark the fire inside him. And Dillian Whyte sparks that fire. He thinks he can beat him. He loves the rivalry, and he wanted this fight for a long time. We made an offer to Dillian Whyte. He felt it was very low, and the response from that initial email made me think there is absolutely no chance this fight happens. I put a rematch clause in because of the Deontay Wilder fight. Dillian Whyte publicly came out and, had a pop at us for putting the rematch clause in. AJ said, didn't even know there was a rematch clause. Take it out. We took it out. He came back. I thought he called the bluff. He signed the contract, and we got the fight made. And I cannot believe, we're 5 weeks out from this fight, and the turnaround has been incredible, and just shows you when two fighters want the fight, it happens.
You're talking about how many tickets are left, and we've just heard from our head of ticketing that, like you say, nearly in single digits. Really, what does that say about the appetite that there is there for this fight?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, 5 weeks, less than 5 weeks out, you go on sale, you sell 17,000. It was one of the fastest pre-sales, well, I think the fastest pre-sale in history of the O2 for boxing. It's just a mega fight, and you're always going to get the critics. Oh, who wants to see that? I mean, that's the Twitter world we live in. The answer is absolutely everybody, and the ticket sales show it. The pay-per-view numbers will show it, and this is crunch time. The first event between Joshua and Whyte at the O2 was a classic. It actually goes down in British boxing folklore. With Stormzy rapping them out. The after antics after the bell in the opening rounds. It had everything, and this one has as well. But this time, careers on the line, world championship ambitions are on the line, and it's absolutely must win for both.
In terms of the presser today, it's weird because sometimes when fighters share the ring and have a thrilling fight like they did, there tends to be respect that's built off the back of that. And I think when AJ boxed Ruiz for the second time in Saudi, there was a nice little interaction between Dillian Whyte and AJ, and it seemed from there that maybe the beef was done. But there is clearly some animosity still between these two.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Sometimes Dillian sort of closes off the confrontation. Sometimes he opens it up. I think the tactic from Dillian Whyte would be to try and get into AJ's head. And if I was Dillian Whyte in this press conference, I'd be trying to be outspoken and vocal. He may choose not to be. I think AJ's up for that. I think he's up for a little bit. I think he enjoys it. And we haven't seen too much of that in his career. And actually, the Dillian Whyte fight was the first fight you saw any of that. So I think you'll see a little bit of that today. I'm looking forward to the face-off. I think they're going to get up close and personal. And it's going to be interesting to see how Dillian Whyte plays this one.
You're quite a big bloke, but is it always a bit daunting when you're sat in the middle of two massive heavyweights?
I was actually thinking on the way here that I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of pushing and shoving today, and maybe a stray swing. And inevitably, I am in the firing line. And I've always said in my career that sooner or later, I will cop one on the chin in a face-off, and I will be knocked spark out. You never know. There's a lot of people watching this going, I hope so. You never know.
In terms of Dillian Whyte and where we look at him right now, obviously he suffered the setback against Tyson Fury, bounced back against Jermaine Franklin, much like Anthony Joshua did. What confidence do you think Dillian will take from AJ at the moment and what he's seen of him recently?
I think a lot of people feel that AJ is mentally not as strong as he once was. They feel like he's a little bit gun-shy, perhaps. I think this is the kind of fight where you're going to see a different kind of Anthony Joshua. He's just, in my opinion, he's become a smarter fighter. But, I think Dillian will try and take shots at maybe the mental frailty or his perceived mental frailty of Anthony Joshua. I was with AJ in Dallas last week. Never seen him happier. Never seen him enjoy his boxing so much. I think there's doubts. Like every fighter has doubts. But I think, people talk about the risk involved in a fight with Dillian Whyte. What about the upside? What if he goes in there and knocks Dillian Whyte out? The momentum he takes into that Deontay Wilder fight, could make him a favourite in that fight, but could also give him the confidence to go and secure a victory in one of the biggest fights in boxing.
You've said careers on the line, and it's always something that gets thrown around, especially in big heavyweight fights, in pay-per-view nights. But for this one, I guess at this stage of their careers, a defeat for either man would be a difficult ride back.
Yeah, I think careers on the line is just part of the promotion, but fighters don't really like that. But the reality is both guys want to put themselves into a position to fight for the world heavyweight title. The loser will be a long way away from that. And at this stage in your career, how much more climbing do you want to do? So rather than say careers on the line, I say must win. Absolute must win for both.
How do you think, this might be an obvious answer, but how do you think both men will want to win this fight on August 12th?
So much, because I know this fight would have been so easy not to make, right? Like, everybody gave everybody some reasons to walk away. I was happy not to make it because I didn't think we could make it. But every time I went back to AJ, with Kabayao or Warlin or all these people, what about Dillian? I said, look, just don't think, what about Dillian? And for Dillian Whyte to accept a deal that he really didn't think was the right deal shows you every bit of confidence that he has in his fight. He has obviously sat down with his team and gone, I don't really like the offer, but do you know what? I'm going to beat him. Sign the contract. They probably thought AJ weren't going to take the fight. I didn't think Dillian Whyte was going to take the fight. So everybody called everybody's bluff, and what transpires is a huge British fight on August the 12th.
We know, based again on the ticket sales, that there's great appetite for this fight, but like you say, the Twitter world, when they see that pay-per-view after the DAZN logo, there's always going to be a few questions and a few raised eyebrows, and I guess it's up to you to deliver value for money with a great undercard. In terms of announcements and what type of fights we can expect, what can you tell the fans?
Yeah, I was trying to announce the undercard today. We do need a couple more days. Lots of rumours and a mixture of fights planned. World Championship action as well. Female fights on the card. We know that Ebanie Bridges is likely to defend her world title. Johnny Fisher will be in his first title fight. Rumours of Amo Williams. Rumours of Filip Hrgovic against Dempsey McKean. Derek Chisora also pushing to be on the card. Fabio Wardley's here today to see if he's going to fight. So there's going to be a huge night of action on August 12th. A couple more days needed. We were working through the night to try and get all the contracts signed for the undercard. But we'll drop a few today. But certainly by the end of this week at the latest, the entire card will be announced. And looking for a big night. This is a massive... You always see from the demand at the box office how big the fight is. This is one of the biggest we've been involved with.
Dillian said it's the decider. Obviously beat AJ as an amateur. AJ beat him in the pros. Are you expecting this fight to be much the same as the fight that they had in the pro ranks and for them to really raise the roof off the arena?
I think it'll be just as dramatic. I think it'll be smarter. They went in they completely lost their marbles in the first fight. You know, I mean, Dillian was attacking him after the end of the round. AJ was just trading with his chin up in the air. It'll be violent. It won't go 12 rounds, but it might be a little bit more smarter than the first fight. You know, both guys are much better fighters than they were then. But they're very dangerous. Dillian Whyte possesses one of the best left hooks in the sport, and AJ, for me, one of the best heavyweights in the world, carries power and speed in both hands. Very dangerous. Both have the ability to turn the other one's lights off with one punch, and that's what always makes a heavyweight classic.
You said that AJ, this was a perfect fight for him and a good fight for us and for DAZN as well. But when you look at the recent fights that have been announced with Usyk and Dubois and Joyce and Zhang, and now this one, and obviously we're not sure what's happening with Fury and that Ngannou fight, but I think boxing needed the last couple of weeks of announcements in this heavyweight division. Yeah,
and we're getting moving, aren't we? I mean, you know, people wanted to see Usyk against Fury, didn't get that. Everyone was very disappointed. It's a natural fight that should have been made. Now you get Usyk Dubois, which I think is a good fight. You get AJ against Dillian Whyte, which is a great fight. You know, you got Zhang rematch, which is a good fight as well. You got Hrgovic against Dempsey McKean coming up, really good heavyweight fight. So I think the heavyweight division's in a good place, but there was one fight missing, but you can't control one guy, so everybody's got to do what they've got to do. For AJ, he's looking for his best year yet, which is Jermaine Franklin, Dillian Whyte, Deontay Wilder. It's a hell of a run.
When we look at the schedule for us as well, lots of Twitter rumours about Leigh Wood and Josh Warrington in Sheffield. Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron rematch is going to be hopefully on the horizon as well. So some massive nights and some massive fights to look forward to.
Yeah, we're looking, I mean, we want to have a big announcement soon for our entire slate from August to December. It's never really been done before. We're more motivated than ever. I think this is going to be our strongest 6-month schedule since we started at Matchroom Boxing. Yes, of course, AJ Whyte. Yes, of course, Sonny Edwards and Bam Rodriguez already announced. Taylor Cameron rematch in the works. Wood Warrington as well. Joe Caldina's defence coming up. But massive nights on both sides of the Atlantic. And we can't wait. We're probably... I like 2 weeks, I say it a lot, but we are probably 2 weeks max away from that entire slate. And it will be an announcement that will show that DAZN have by far the best schedule from top to bottom for the next 6 months.
Final one then, Eddie. Anthony Joshua-Dillian Whyte, the rematch. The build-up gets well and truly underway today. By the time August 12th rolls around, it'll be 400 weeks exactly since the first fight. There's a stat for you, but what do you think we should all buckle up for in the build-up to this one?
Just an incredible night of drama. You know, two great British heavyweights, two Londoners with an incredible rivalry from the amateurs and in the pros that do battle at the O2 Arena all over again for their career, for World Championship ambitions, but for pride. You know, to be able to take victory away from this. You'll see it today. AJ wants this so bad. Dillian Whyte wants this so bad. And there's going to be a huge amount of drama in and out of the ring before we go to the O2 on August the 12th.
Great stuff, Ed. Make sure you keep your chin down on that stage tonight, yeah? Top man.